Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, Pujya Swami Brahmanandaru, Pujya Mataji, ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿರಿಯರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. So today is the third day of the unique Jnana Yajna. Jnana Yajna was the term coined by our Pujya Gurudev for disseminating the knowledge of Vedanta. Pujya Swami Brahmanandaji has given us the same platform to offer our gratitude in terms of small thoughts of Bhagavad Gita, what we have studied, and we are ever thankful to him. Once again, I welcome all of you to the third day of this Jnana Yajna to commemorate 75 years of Chinmaya mission. Now I call upon the three speakers of today, Suresh Kumar, Professor Neelamegham, and Mrs. Jayashri Mohan, to do the Arati.
आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की, आरती सद्गुरु की। चरणों में उनके शांति समाये, शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए, पाप ताप संताप हरण की, आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की, आरती सद्गुरु की। वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया, धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया, शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की, आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की, आरती सद्गुरु की। सिद्ध बारी की तपोभूमि में नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे, भक्त हृदय आनंद स्रोत की, आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की, आरती सद्गुरु की, आरती सद्गुरु की। बोलो सद्गुरु महाराज की जय।
Hari Om. It is my privilege to introduce our first speaker for today, Shri Suresh Kumar Pingle. Sureshji has 30 plus years of experience in financial and technology sector, having worked in leadership roles in many multinationals. At the age of 50, he chose early retirement to focus on spiritual growth and seva. He is deeply engaged in study groups, devotional music, and teaching Vedic chanting, while also mentoring NGOs and early stage startups. Today, he will be speaking on Jnana, the ultimate truth based on chapter 4 and other sources. I warmly invite Sri Suresh Kumar Pingle to address us.
Yeah, I can remove this. Yeah. Hello? Hello? Yeah. Hari Om. Thank you, Sandhya ji. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My humble pranams to Pujya Gurudev, Pujya Brahmananda ji, Mata ji, and all acharyas of Chinmaya Mission, my Guru Sri Sheshadri ji, my study group members, and many other learned persons who have been my source of knowledge and inspiration. My pranams to all fellow sadhaks who are present here. Thanks for the opportunity to convey our gratitude for his inspirational idea by Pujya Gurudev of Geeta Jynana Yajna, and gratitude to our Pujya Brahmananda ji for celebrating the 75th anniversary in this unique fashion. I'm truly blessed to speak here, and I'll humbly submit my understanding of Jnana Yoga, the ultimate truth, the core of Advaita Vedanta. All credit for this talk goes to our vast treasure house, Shastra Granthas, in their authoritative perspective. However, all omissions and commissions are to the debit of my account and my understanding, so please pardon or bear with me. Especially, I would like to thank Sri Sheshadri ji, Srimati Mukta ji, Srimati Sandhya ji for their valuable inputs in refining my talk. Been very, very valuable. I would also like to thank my family and friends for their encouragement and support, and many of them are present here. Thank you. So for this talk, I will attempt to use the Vichara method of Vedanta, which is very popular. So what I'll do is I'll ask a few relevant questions on Jnana so that we all understand what is this Jnana on this path of Jnana Yoga, which will help us to understand this subject much deeper. So what are the questions I have thought of for today is what is Jnana, what is Ajnana if you know Jnana, then where and how to obtain Jnana, and what are the pre-qualifications and available tools for the seeker. Why is Jnana relevant for us? And why is Jnana the ultimate truth? And what happens when you become a Jnani? And some practical tips and implementation from my experience. So first question, what is Jnana? Now we all need knowledge to live in this world. It's pretty obvious. Even animals need to acquire knowledge to survive about predators, to know about their food sources and migratory routes. So we as humans need this jnana because we believe that will help us seek happiness. And we all want to be happy. And that is the driving force in our lives. So to achieve this happiness, we have goals in life. And to achieve these goals, we seek knowledge. So what is this typical knowledge we all seek? Get a degree, acquire some skills, look for a job, build a house, build a family, buy a car, whatever. Now, this is worldly knowledge, of course relevant for managing our worldly life and nothing wrong about it. But during this life journey, for most of us present here, I'm sure, we realize that the happiness this knowledge brings is temporary and transient. Kosha Ananda, as Taittiriya Upanishad calls it. Why? I think that is a fundamental question we all need to answer. The reason is the demon of desire, the asura within us. The asura makes us shift the goalposts every now and then. Once a goal is achieved, we chase the next. The rat race continues, and irony is we don't know when and how to stop. So whatever happiness this brings is temporary and transient, and what continues is the suffering. So as they say, happiness is the brief gap between two thoughts. So happiness can be defined as happiness, desires fulfilled by desires generated. And we never stop generating desires. So we slowly realize that we seek to gain happiness, whatever method we follow, is neither giving me permanent happiness nor reducing the suffering. So that is the reality all of us are in today. So what do? So we attend such Jnana Yajnas hoping for some spark. So that is why all of us are here, including me. So we search, the search continues. So is there any knowledge or jnana which can give us the permanent everlasting happiness? That is the question. Yes, there is Parajnana or Brahmahananda which will give you the everlasting happiness. So there are three concepts which Vedanta talks about when you talk of jnana. Jnana stands for knowledge, more intellectual and theoretical. Vijnana, which is Vishesha Jnana, which means wisdom, knowledge, and internalized knowledge or direct experience. And Prajnana, which means consciousness or Brahman, which is Prajnanam Brahma, which is one of the Mahavakyas. So in simple terms, if I have to define jnana, to know Brahman as one's own self is jnana. To say, I am Brahman, the pure, all-pervading consciousness, I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer, I am the silent witness, is jnana. Now this concept seems easy, seems intellectually stimulating, but still that permanent happiness eludes us. Why? That is a question we need to understand. So Ajnana is the reason why we are not able to retain this happiness. What is Ajnana? Ajnana refers to ignorance, the root cause of bondage, suffering, delusion in the samsara. It is an active misrepresentation of the eternal reality. So Ajnana forces you to identify yourself with your illusory vehicles of body, mind, and intellect, and forces you to think that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the ahamkara and the mamakara. So in simple words, Ajnana can be termed as a cataract of the mind, which obscures the true nature of the self. Now this is clear, but why is it so difficult to destroy Ajnana? That is even more important. Because of Maya, where we think we are in bondage, we are not free. And we think the Maya deludes people and traps us in this material world. A few examples to illustrate this. The Rajju Sarpa rope snake example, I think famous in Vedanta. The rope is there in the room, but the dim light room forces us to imagine the snake there. However, with the help of a torchlight, we can now see the rope and dismiss the snake instantly. In reality, the rope alone was there. The superimposition due to darkness manifested the snake. The key word is manifested the snake. So jnana is the torch of light to see the eternal reality, the rope, and to remove ajnana, the snake. Two other examples, one from Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, the washerman and the diamond. A washerman finds a beautiful diamond, radiant and hard. He doesn't know its value. So what does he do? He uses it as a scrubbing stone for his clothes while he goes to the river. Now, he uses it for many days, but the diamond is still lustrous and hard. So he wonders there's something special. So he goes, checks with his friends. Nobody is able to guide him. Then finally he goes to the jeweler or the diamond merchant, and he knows the real value and he pays him a fortune. So what is the moral here or the story here? The diamond was always there with the washerman. But what did he use it for? Scrubbing the clothes. That was not the original purpose. So it could meet every want of him, but only when he realized or identified it. Now another example from Persian tales, the Mullah Nasiruddin story, a very nice story. So the Mullah and the customs officer, where Mullah used to carry his goods across the border on donkeys to sell his wares on the other side. The customs officer always suspected that the Mullah was smuggling something, but all his papers and goods were in order. He couldn't find anything wrong. This went on for many years. One day, the customs officer had the guts to stop Mullah and ask him, I know you're smuggling something. Tell me honestly, what are you smuggling all these days? So the Mullah coolly replies, I was smuggling the donkeys. Right? So the Brahman and Atman is right here and now, but it is hidden right under our nose like the donkey. We miss it and don't see it due to our perceived notions, vasanas, upadhis, or ajnana, ignorance. So Brahman is without limitation. Limitation is a superimposition on the Brahman. Jnana alone can destroy ajnana, even as light alone can remove darkness. So this is Jnana Yoga, the path of wisdom. Now how to remove ajnana? That is the most important question, logical question. Seek the right knowledge and take the guidance and blessings of a guru. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Prostrations to the Guru, who by the colorium rod of knowledge opens the eyes of those who are rendered blind by the darkness of ignorance. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Now moving on to, we now know what is jnana, where and how to obtain this jnana, what are the pre-qualifications. Bhagavatam puts it beautifully, the absolute truth cannot be understood merely by own contemplation. You need to receive the knowledge from a guru or a God-realized saint who knows the absolute truth. Sri Krishna beautifully answers this in chapter 4 Bhagavad Gita, 434. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So he says paripathena, prostrations to the Guru, dandavat pranam. This is a total sharanagati, not just physical pranam, but more mental and attitudinal sharanagati to the Guru. So the disciple tells the Guru, please do whatever you deem fit for me in order to receive the knowledge from you. Second, pariprashnena, righteous inquiry about the spiritual path. A good example is verse 49 in Viveka Chudamani, where the disciple asks 7 poignant questions to the Guru. Sevaya, by serving the Guru, the disciple's service enables the Guru to tune him on the path of jnana by prescribing the right sadhanas. Krishna also talks about what qualifies a Guru in the same shloka. He says 2 things. One, direct realization of the truth which should have been experienced by the Guru, Brahmanishta, and his ability to teach the truths of the scriptures to the disciple, Shrotriya. So the Guru essentially conducts a spiritual operation on the disciple. Like we do appendectomy to remove appendix, the Guru does a egodectomy, surgical removal of the ego. Now what are the prerequisites of a seeker? Jnana Yoga is not a subject that can be understood and realized through mere intellectual study, reasoning, or discussion. Shankara clearly says, sadhana chatushtaya, 4 means of salvation, viveka, vairagya, shamadhi, shat sampatti, and mumukshatvam. Bhagavan Sri Krishna also talks about in chapter 4, he says, Shreyan dravyamaya dejnat. He says, superior to the sacrifice with objects, Jnana Yajna is superior, sacrifice with knowledge. So Krishna tells Arjuna, I want you to understand this clearly. Your enemy is Ajnana. By whatever means, you must get Jnana to finish it off. So now we know why Puja Gurudev's idea of Geeta Jnana Yajna is so inspirational. And we owe a lot to him, to our Puja Swami Brahmaji, for such a unique celebration of the 75th anniversary. Of course, there are other paths, the karma, bhakti and upasana margas. They have their benefits. They provide chitta shuddhi, ekagrata and chitta vishalata, clearly preparatory practices towards jnana. The second most important qualification is Shraddha. Shraddhavan labate jnanam, says Lord Krishna. Those whose faith is deep attain divine knowledge. Shraddha is the single most important quality required for a seeker, not now, until the very end of his quest. This is not blind faith. This is faith associated with a deep intellectual inquiry and personal experience until that faith or belief becomes a firm conviction. So faith is the trust pending self-discovery, and faith is the crest on which rides the intellect of the seeker. Now we have seen what are the qualifications, what are the available tools for the inquiry for the seeker. There are many, many tools, I'm just covering a few. Neti Neti is a very powerful concept. The 4 Mahavakyas for contemplation and meditation. Drik Drishya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, Avasthatraya Viveka, and many, many more. So with these qualifications and tools, what thereafter for the seeker? What should he do? Shankara beautifully explained Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Listening to the Guru, thinking and reflecting what the Guru has taught, internalizing it, and constant and profound meditation. Then, at the right moment, Atma Jnana dawns on the seeker. Now, why is Jnana relevant to us? I think that's the most important being in Geeta Jnana Yajna. Now, to understand that the world is merely an appearance, avarna and vikshepa shakti of Maya, to be discarded, freedom from bondage, and seek that everlasting happiness. Adi Shankara says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. So what are the benefits of this Jnana Yajna or Jnana? 3 things Krishna talks about in chapter 4. The permanent solution for all sorrows. Yajnatvana punar moham yevam yasyasi pandava. He says, Praptasya prapti, nivritasya nivriti. Means, gives what already you have and removes what does not exist or what is mithya. So samsara, which is mithya, is removed, and Brahman Satchidananda, your absolute nature, is what it gives you. So delusion is removed, the cure is permanent, and adds a new enlightenment to you, or a new dimension, which is Sarvatma Bhava. All is one, one in all. The entire world is unified under one umbrella, which is the Brahman, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. So knowledge is the raft that takes us across this ocean of samsara. The second benefit, Krishna says, Api chedasi papebhyas sarvebhyah papakrittamaha. He says the removal of all sins from sinner to saint. No matter how dark the darkness is in a cave, the moment the light is on or switched on, the darkness vanishes instantly. I think the key word is instantly. That perhaps is the best way to explain what happens as a result of spiritual enlightenment, instant. The third Krishna says is purifying fire of knowledge. Yathaidamsi samiddhognir bhasmasat kuruterjuna. He says knowledge is compared here to a blazing fire, not an ordinary fire, a blazing fire which advances and destroys the entire forest. So fire acts on the forest, the knowledge acts on actions. What are these actions? Our karmas. Sanchita, Agami and Prarabdha. With this jnana, Sanchita and Agami are destroyed, and what remains is only Prarabdha, which has to be lived to be exhausted. Now moving on to why jnana is the ultimate truth. Shankara says, Jnana devatu kaivalyam. Liberation is attained through knowledge only. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate. In this world, there is nothing purifying as divine knowledge. So at the heart of this jnana yoga lies the deep inquiry, who am I? Nan-yar, Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi. So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this jnana yoga path is the most difficult. Why? Now, three reasons he gives. One, it is against our human tendency. Why? Because all of us focus on the material reality, and we have a very strong association with our BMI, body, mind, intellect, and our objects, emotions, and thoughts. The bondage is very strong, mazboot. Abstract focus requires to discipline the mind to focus on the unmanifest, formless Brahman. Very, very tough. Third, renunciation of ego demands extreme intellectual sharpness, detachment, and intense self-discipline. That is why he says Jnana Yoga is the most difficult path. But why Jnana is still ultimate? Because, as we saw, it is the highest purifier, burns ignorance and direct realization, removes the root cause of bondage, ending the misidentification with the body, mind, intellect, object, emotion, thoughts, and dissolving Maya, and leads to lasting peace, freedom from doubt, delusion, and equanimity. Swami Gambhirananda, 11th president of Ramakrishna Mission, one of the sadhaks who was initiated into the mission asked him, I have been initiated a Mahavakya, how many times should I repeat to attain realization? So Swami says, this is not for repetition, this is for contemplation and realization. So the transmitter is always there, but our receiver is not tuned. So attune the receiver through preparatory practices, and then you can start receiving. You're all in Geeta Jynana Yajna today. Tune your receivers, and I can promise you will have Atma Jnana here and now. Now, what happens once you become a jnani? A few more minutes. Upanishad says one should not only know and understand Brahman, but also experience Brahman. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. So, moksha is not a goal. It is not the nature of the body, mind, or intellect. It is my own real nature, sahaja, atmanishta or brahmanishta. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives a fine illustration in this regard. He says when a jnani, having attained the non-dual Brahman in samadhi, when he comes back to the plane of ego, vyavaharika sattva, one realizes that it is Brahman who has become the universe of plurality. So he gives a beautiful example. He says, to get to the flesh of the fruit, you discard its skins and seeds. But when you want to know the total weight of the fruit, you must weigh all of them together. The skin, the seeds, the flesh, all belong to one and the same fruit. Brahman, who is absolute in one aspect, is relative in another aspect. And both aspects belong to one and the same, the Supreme Brahman. Now to conclude, some practical tips and implementation plan. Jnana Yoga, the steps. First seek a guru. Sadhana Chatushtaya, and then Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Rise above illusion, recognize Maya through Viveka. And Jnana is to see through the Maya mirror. Seek true wisdom, move beyond intellectual knowledge and to direct spiritual experience, and strive to be a jnani. Now, what are the benefits of practicing Jnana Yoga? Clarity of thought, freedom from fear and confusion, detachment from suffering, deep inner peace, awakening of the higher consciousness, spiritual enlightenment, and as my guru says, go beyond goals in life to goals of life, moksha and liberation. I'll conclude with a poem penned by my friend Sri Muralidharacharya, a beautiful one, I hope you'll enjoy. Between waking and dream, the jiva asks Maya, are you my captor? Maya replies, I bind nothing. I only reflect what you choose to believe. Then how do I become free? Asks the jiva. Not by destroying me, Maya smiles, but by seeing clearly, I dissolve in understanding. Maya is not the prison, but the test. To the unaware, it is bondage. To the aware, it is a doorway. When you cling, it binds. When you observe, it loosens. When you realize, it vanishes. What remains is not something new, but what has always been. You were never bound, you only believed in the play. So awakening is not escape, it is remembrance of your true self, the Atman. So when mind is constantly anchored in awareness, uncertainty loses its power, and deeper understanding gradually dawns. Chidananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sureshji. That was beautiful and very, very comprehensive. So from the path of knowledge, we now